Good night, everybody. Gabriel. I'm a VDC coordinator at Pomelo. It's a GC. So I decided to present this today, how to leverage Dynamo as an automation tool to improve efficiency between teams. Where can I just... So here's why I picked this thing to present today. In my day-to-day work, I see a lot of teams they work in their own silos. And everybody's very limited instead of seeing the whole picture, as it doesn't matter who you work for, what you're doing, it's a problem. Everybody can get involved and we can be way more efficient. So that is something that I see in this community, what this guy's trying to do with Slack, and I try to do every day at work. Bring all this players together. I try to work, I work with consultants, specialty trades, developer, me in the case, general contractor, clients. So I want everybody to be in the same page, very transparent, very collaborative. Let's go. Next one. So I decided to start with a few tips first before I show some of the cool stuff. Ways that we can increase adoption and just make it easier for everybody to engage with Dynamo. First, the most important thing for me, create standards. If you create standards for everything, you have a very predictable behavior, a very predictable environment, and it's very easy to automate. You can just you know how you're gonna name families, you know how views are gonna be named, you know parameters, you know everything. So you have full control over it. So dive into Dynamo now. Pair script with Dynamo version. I don't know if you guys have seen this screen before. It's I have a few problems with that. I write a code, I send to someone, and they just call me, hey, it's not working. It's just show me this screen. They send me a print screen. It's okay, which Dynamo version are you using? It's please update, use the latest one. Let's keep everybody on the same page. That's very important. The syntax changed between versions, so something that you wrote for Dynamo 0.9, 1 point something, it's not going to work in 2.0. Scripts are not, as I said, not going to work or just produce an unexpected or results. So always inform the end user which version you wrote your Dynamo script for. Tip number 2. Some guys might get a bit upset, especially the ones who develop packages, reduce package dependency. It's especially if you're trying to bring everybody together from different teams, different companies, you don't want someone calling you. It's hey, do you use any package with this? It's not working. It's not good, and people are not engaging anymore, and they're not believing in the tool because they had an issue with that. So better experience sharing scripts. Not all users have the same packages installed. Even inside the same company, I have to work with a lot of companies, a lot of people at the same time, and it's hard for me to control inside my own team who is using what. Imagine across the company. So read the code from the packages. Open it, try to understand, try to read that crazy Python script that someone put in there. Try to understand the logic behind it. So you might create your own, or might get some part of that code and create a Frankenstein and bring inside yours, so you don't have that dependency anymore. It avoids also those nice windows that you're gonna get cannot save, cannot open. I'm pretty sure that you guys probably seen this before, a bunch of like nodes. Unresolved, not cool. Might sound a little bit, let's say, contradictory, saying reduce package dependency, but this one I really recommend. There's a package called data shapes, and it creates those pop-up windows that just makes like everything user friendly. We had a script in the company that it was very useful. It was amazing, but it was there. Open the script. Oh, run the script. See that list? Pick the index. And I was like, people are not using this. Why not? It's like, first they don't understand. Not everybody understands what is an index in the list of Revit. It starts with 0 and it goes on. So make it user friendly. One package is not a big deal, and it brings a lot of advantages. Expands the reach of your script. Not all the users know how to manipulate Dynamo. They open the script and they look at that. It's like, what is that? It's like ramen, noodle soup. I don't know where I'm supposed to see here, what it's supposed to do. So you want to reach everybody. You want everybody to use it if they know how to create a script, if they understand what they're seeing or not. So it's kind of cool. Dynamo player, pop-up windows for input. You can do a lot of different inputs there. Fourth tip, provide a how-to guide. That's very important. Not everybody know what you're thinking when you create that script. No, everybody knows what is the goal of that script, how to use it, which inputs. Even though you can use data shapes and make it really easy, they still like okay, what I'm supposed to put here. So I try to write one user guide per script and send to everybody that you send that script. This is how you use, this is what you should expect from this. Okay. So end of tips for now. Making it simple to find a user will increase adoption. So you're getting the guys who know Dynamo, who knows how to write a script, and you're reaching all the other Revit users that have no clue of what that is, but they can just click a button, use Dynamo Player or whatever other ad you guys use. Second part, modeling. I divide my presentation in a few different parts. Hope it makes a little bit of sense to you guys. Achieving modeling deliverable faster. Let's see some of the stuff. So it doesn't really matter why, but I was working this project, and in one of the revisions, no one knows why, one of the MEP models it was like in the wrong level, and okay, it doesn't work. Revit doesn't let me push. It's like all my connections are gone, and I got a bunch of warnings. No big deal. Let's collaborate. Let's bring my MEP consultant to my desk and say like, okay, here's how you're gonna do it. I'm gonna write a script. I'm gonna help you because your problem is my problem, and I want that project to move on. I don't want like impacting my schedule, so I don't really care if it's another company, and that's how I see it and try to work every day. So the guy who was modeling, they didn't know a way to do it fast. So we're collaborating together. It's just like something really, really simple. It takes like literally 30 seconds to put this together. I don't know if you guys, you show the numbers. Almost half of you don't have heavy experience with Dynamo, but the ones who have like, we'll understand this is, it's like less than 30 seconds maybe. It's really simple. And you just moved all the elements that the modeler couldn't move without causing a lot of warnings in Revit and having a lot of headaches. So it was one click, a few seconds, that's it. Done. Okay, second part. Who worked in a project, you start modeling something, and then your general contractor or client or someone just comes to you and say like, hey, I need you to incorporate this standard. I need you to change something. In this case, I use a lot of glue. It makes sense, and my site team just love it because they get their iPad and they can see everything. I don't know if you guys seen, if you don't put materials with right colors following like a pattern, you see everything gray in glue. It's like there are no filters, there are not workaround, there's nothing you can do. You have to put materials in Revit and that's it. So that's very useful for that kind of thing. Make visual identification easier, as I said. So here's the problem. I have this guy who created a Revit file that had all the materials. The colors, everything was set, was nice. And another guy for another company had the models. I said, okay, I need a list of your systems so we can pair and make it work. But I didn't want these guys to have any headache. So I wrote the script in a way that is just one click. You can import, you can do everything with one click. So there's, I don't know if you're familiar with it, there's a lot of interaction with Excel. You can bring a lot of information from it and just create a master list. All the materials are there. It's like really, really simple. And that's kind of the script. I figured out a way to figure out the location of the script. So I could put just all the files in the same location and the guy would just run it and it will import everything. It's like a package. It's kind of quite useful, and then you have like a model that instead of showing like all gray, it shows the right colors. And out of the sudden, like the subs and everybody can understand what is what and where is it going. So it's like 10 seconds to run it. It's like really simple. So it was not a collaboration. And also because I really didn't want to mess with the consultant model. There is that matter of the limit of it's your model, it's your responsibility, but like I need it in a certain way, I need to help you to get there. Okay, so for modeling, I got to this conclusion. Helping others leads you to better ways of doing your day-to-day tasks, because now we had this incorporated in our own templates, but we have everything set up for anyone else that needs help with that. Documenting. I bet that there's a bunch of architects here, right? So you probably spend quite some time going through your views and creating views, sections, sheets. There's some ways you can speed up things. I spent some time with manufacturing, and things are very, very, let's say, rigid about standards, naming everything, so you can predict everything. You know how things are going to be named, how views are going to be named. So I create this script because we have basically two teams. One team working in Revit, developing a model, and we have another team just developing details. And I say, okay, we have to work in parallel. How can we bring those teams together without a huge impact in our process? So start creating sheets and placing views. Show you in a second the script. Does in a second what takes hours for a person to do. I try to do that myself. It took a couple of days, depending on the size of the project. You increase productivity, you reduce chance of errors. It's very useful for details, as I said, but it requires the standards and disciplines for naming conventions. So basically, I would get like this cool CAD file. A lot of people still use CAD files. I still use CAD files. They're nice. There was another script I didn't put it here. I thought we wouldn't have enough time to create the views. So I have views and they're named based in the blocks that comes from AutoCAD with the details. And then we have this nice script that basically you're gonna get all these views, create sheets. It's gonna get the geometry, how many views do you have per sheet, and like put them together in the right place. So at the end you start having like a bunch of sheets with all the views placed in a few seconds. Something that took me maybe like 2 days to do it. Okay, gone. So it's like, why would you spend a lot of time if you can just have a script that does that for you? So you can see here the sheets, the views, the same CAD file and all the views there. You can have more views per sheet. It's not a problem. Documenting. Yeah. Standards are your best friend. It's like, make it predictable, make it simple. I know it might be annoying in the beginning to keep everybody on the same page, enforce the conventions, but allows you to use this kind of tool that, come on, 2 days to 10 seconds. Okay. That's a cool one. Left it for the end. I handle a lot of projects and I get involved with the proposal phase of this project till as built. And it's not that I recommend modeling like the way I'm going to show you guys, but in the schematic, let's say in the schematic phase, it's a lot of risk, a lot of changes. So you want to, let's say, reduce the hours you put in that model. You want to make everything faster. So you might create walls and columns going all the way up through all floors. But you know, when you create let's say a BIM model, you're supposed to replicate real life in your model. It's a virtual construction model, actually. So that is not very helpful because I need to create a 4D simulation to sell the product to the client. So I figured out also this could be interesting for some of the consultants to get their schematic model and bring to the drawing phase of the project in a very quick manner. So it was a bit of a headache, and I still changed this script because I always find something interesting that doesn't work. But split walls and columns that go through multiple levels by level, fast way from schematic to construction, speed up. The only thing I had to do is like all the models have to be attached to base level and top level, all the elements. So, because I cannot show the real projects, I create this little thing where actually it's like one wall all the way up, and I start testing. Yeah, that same window that I showed in the beginning is actually the data shapes that I use for that. Is basically pop up with all the levels you have inside your model and allows you to pick the levels you want to use to chop your walls and columns. So it's going to run all of that, and at the end you get this. So now I have my model split by levels the way it's supposed to be, and I didn't have to spend all that time modeling like that. Again, I don't recommend to do that, but I understand why the business side of the thing, we need to push out models. Here's your model. I know you're gonna change 20, 50, 100 times before you tell me like it's okay. So not gonna spend a lot of time in it. So another reflection for that. Not all paths are a straight line. Find your workarounds. This script is not actually splitting walls because, I don't know, Revit API doesn't let me do that. It's like, just tell me read only and you're gonna find a lot of things. So I found my workarounds to make it happen. That's what we have to do, and that's why we need to collaborate a lot and find new ways and new ideas to do the same old things or create new ones.